Number 14 way that I was wrong as fuck is as it relates to the Baha'i Faith. And so there is much praise in my heart and much good that has come out of the Baha'i Faith. Namely, I love the writings, particularly of Baha'u'llah, who is thought of to be the messenger, the Jesus figure, or the Muhammad figure, or the Buddha figure in the Baha'i Faith. And so I really fell in love with his writing. But as is always the case, once the manifestation, once the teacher dies, then all hell breaks loose. And the Baha'i Faith has made an attempt to create and to indoctrinate a political and administrative agenda that I don't agree with, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So if you're wanting to know about the beautiful mystical work of Baha'u'llah, the first book I would recommend is The Hidden Words. Also, too, the gleanings of the writings of Baha'u'llah. Very mystical stuff, very beautiful work, very poetic, very religious. I love it. Good stuff. Now, where I was wrong as it relates to the Baha'i Faith is, number one, the way I chose to come into the Baha'i Faith. And it came on the backs of my rejecting Christianity, because Christianity was very secularized and also very sectionalized. And that meant also very segregated. And being of mixed race, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about in this video also too, it was a shadow area for me, a sore spot for me to not, quote unquote, fit in. And, I had to get over that. I had to learn to get over that. But when I adopted the Baha'i Faith, what really drew me in was its globalist perspective, that we are all one, we are all the same, and that we should all ultimately blend into one gray, homogeneous, prototypical consumer, taxpayer, one world religion, one world government type drone. And of course I'm saying that, from my perspective today. So that you could sense a little disdain there. But, a part of the way that it drew me in was its magnet towards multiculturalism, which I was a prime candidate for. And so I'll talk more about globalism and race mixing in the next 2 points. But I was wrong. I was wrong about the Baha'i Faith. Like I said before, I am not a fan of the agenda, particularly the administrative order. And some of the practices thereof. It may have something to do with my primal rejection of authority, but I also have dug much deeper, and I'll talk more about that in the next 2 points. So point number 14, where I was wrong as fuck over the past 40 years, is with regard to globalism. And like I said, I thought that at some point that, the whole world needed to come together and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I realized that although that's a great existential idea, that's a great metaphysical idea, it's very idealistic, it's not only not realistic, which I could talk about later, but those who perpetrate or propagate that agenda do not call for and aspire to and want us to all become happy-go-lucky kumbaya people. What they're looking for through this push of globalism, through a borderless world, through the erasure of the difference between the sexes, the erasure of the differences between the religions, the erasure of the differences between cultures and race, is to create a one race of consumers. Globalism is not about loving one another and coming together in peace. It is about creating a prototypical consumer / taxpayer in the global economic market. It's about power. It's not about transcendentalism and good vibes, which I originally thought it was. I do believe that we are best served by getting along with our neighbors and trading fairly with one another. But it stops there. I think there is great value in maintaining borders. I think it's so funny that Donald Trump is trying so hard, and he is succeeding because he's a winner, to build this border around America, which only makes sense, which is very practical, very normal, very natural, and must be done in this world that they're aiming to create a borderless world. Is not just a physical border, but what we're suffering from in a myriad of different ways is this lack of boundaries, this lack of this borderlessness in our character, in our morals, in our values, in our virtues. We live in a world where anything goes, and we're suffering. That's why the mental state of humankind is suffering. We've got anxiety, we've got depression, we've got suicide. We're all fucked up because there are no borders. So there's globalism for you.